Okay, today we're going to revisit factoring. So far everything we factored has been a quadratic trinomial. First object x squared plus or minus something x plus or minus some number was our initial goal to use our factoring chart. After we did a greatest common factor first, we'd always do that. Today we're going to deal with binomial factoring. There's still going to be quadratic, highest power being x squared or p squared or whatever letter we're dealing with squared. The requirement to factor difference of squares is that it is a difference of squares. If it is, you can. If it isn't, you can't. This is an example of a difference of squares, maybe. Right there. That is a difference of squares. Okay, notice it's a binomial, two terms. Both terms are perfect squares. Something squared, something squared. Letters squared are pretty easy. Anything to a power that's even. X to the 4th is a square, x to the 88th is a square, x to the 144th is a square, any even power. And then, of course, numbers themselves that are squares, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, and so on. They have to have opposite signs, one positive, one negative, but notice this in bold print, so it must be important. Arrange them so the positive is first. Life is easier when the positive object's first. I say this every single year, and 2 or 3 people don't put the positive number first, and they say I never said it. Okay, I've got video proof for this one that I did say it. Always put the positive first, rearrange it if it isn't that way. The factored form is the sum and difference of the square roots of the two terms. Sum and difference. So, the square root of a squared is a, the square root of b squared is b. A plus b is the sum of the square roots, a minus b is the difference of the square roots. The reason that works, imagine I'm doing FOIL, multiplying these binomials using FOIL. First times first is a squared, right? There's the a squared that we get. If we look at the outside product, negative ab, and the inside product, positive ab, and then we have last times last, minus b squared. There's my minus b squared, right? A squared minus b squared happening. Notice the outside and inside products are exact opposites, they cancel. That's how we're getting a binomial out of this, because usually you multiply binomials, you get a trinomial, but in a situation where you're multiplying a sum and difference of the same two things, the outside and inside products always cancel, leaving us with a binomial, perfect square minus perfect square. All right? And one last thing before I move on, and again, the thing people get wrong here is they get things in the wrong order. So let me just highlight. It's got to be an easier way to erase. All right. Which one of those terms is negative?
B squared.
B squared is negative. So notice positive b, negative b. Those are the ones with the opposite signs on them. Again, the thing people mess up on is they'll do b plus a, b minus a, because they think that they're supposed to do that for some reason. You're not, okay? But if it was b plus a, b minus a, now you got plus a and minus a, that makes a negative a squared, or that's obviously positive a squared. So keep that in mind. The factoring procedure, the chart, we've already gotten this. I've already actually written this down for you, so hopefully you already have that on your sheet from before. It's the same chart we did before. I'm not going to print it out every time we do it. But again, you've already got this in your possession, and I think I've already filled in all these boxes with everything you can do. So we'll just move on from here. Okay, example 1. Factor negative 4 plus x squared. Number one thing you do once you see it's a binomial. The job says factor, and you see it's 2 terms, not 3. First thing is to arrange it in the proper order. You always want the positive object first, the negative object second. So rearrange it. I'm not moving it across an equal sign, so no signs change. X squared is still positive, 4 is still negative, but just arrange it in that order. Now I need to do a quick checklist. It's a mental checklist. You don't have to write this down on your paper. Checklist 1, they have to both be perfect squares. X times x, 2 times 2. Done. The second thing, they have to be opposite. One positive, one negative, check. Everything that's supposed to happen is there, so it is a difference of squares. So then I simply have to write the factored form. One sum, one difference. And what's in front is x squared. What times itself makes x squared?
X.
So x times x goes in front. What times itself makes 4?
2 and 2.
So 2 times 2 goes in the back. And there's your factored form. Recognize the structure, factor it immediately, and you're done.